YouTube, we finally hit 20,000 subscribers on this channel, so I want to say a quick thank you to everyone because I appreciate and love you all. But for 20K and for Black History Month, I want to do something very special on the last day of the month, where myself and fellow Black wrestling content creators and also a little special guest at the end of the video are here to talk about our favorite moments in Black wrestling history. From days of Sailor Art Thomas and Bobo Brazil, to Ron Simmons, to Booker T, to The Rock, to Mark Henry, to Kofi Kingston. There's been so many moments in Black wrestling that I couldn't just do this video on my own. This isn't just Black wrestling, but it's also Black excellence.
Yo, Malcolm, thank you so much for having me on your channel for Black History Month. Amazing, the most amazing month in the year. But anyways, sorry, got a little excited. My favorite moment in Black wrestling is definitely Kofi winning the WWE title at WrestleMania. Kofi is one of the first people I ever saw wrestle, so I was really excited for that moment. I cried a little bit. Me and X cried a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But that is my favorite moment in Black wrestling. Thanks for having me on your channel. I love you. I love you, bye, brother. Thank you.
I'm Britt Waters, host of My Wrestling Opinion on IGTV. And when it comes to big moments in Black wrestling, I know everybody's gonna say Kofi Mania and his big win at WrestleMania, but there's a part of that I wanna highlight that people don't always talk about. The gauntlet match leading up to the big win. It really touched my heart to see Big E and Xavier Woods really fight for their brother. Everyone always thought for one of them to have solo success, they'd have to break up the faction, but they didn't. And to see them win, it was like a win not just for Kofi, not just for the New Day, but for Black wrestling fans all over. It touched my heart when the Usos were like, we not doing this, we want Kofi to prosper. We all wanted Kofi to prosper. And that step in the big process just was really one of my faves. And I will always love it for that reason.
Yo, what is good, people? This is your boy Dazzle from the Black Wrestling Alliance. Shout out to Muscle Man Malcolm, doing great things. So, my top Black history moment in wrestling. There's so many, but I'm going to choose something that maybe many people probably wouldn't choose. And this guy does not get his flowers enough at all, but it is the greatness that is D'Lo Brown. When D'Lo Brown became the Euro-Continental Champion, the first Black person to win the Intercontinental and European Championship at the same time, I think for me solidified the greatness that is him in possibly the biggest way his career possibly could have gone. I think he should have been a bigger star than he was, but at the same time, it was an absolutely amazing moment for him to be able to have that accolade on his CV. So shout out D'Lo Brown.
I want to throw myself somewhere in the video as well and talk about some of my favorite Black wrestling moments. I know a lot of us talked about Kofi Kingston so far, and who was there not to talk about? He won the WWE Championship. But while representation in WWE is amazing, we need to see it on all scales of professional wrestling, from the WWE all the way down to the independent scene. That's why one of my favorite Black wrestling moments actually come from two different wrestlers, and they are Jay Lethal and Shane Taylor. Outside of Mark Henry's win, this was the first ever time I saw a Black person actually win a world championship in pro wrestling. And not just a championship, he became a double champion, the first one to ever do it. But to also talk about Shane Taylor, his ROH television championship reign has by far been my favorite TV reign of all time. And I don't just mean Ring of Honor, I'm talking about any promotion that's ever had a television championship. I enjoy his championship reign the most. And even what he's doing right now, he earned the opportunity to face a world champion in Rouge. He has a faction called Shane Taylor Promotions where they just won the 6-man tag team titles alongside Khan and Moses. For a Black wrestling fan that wants to become a pro wrestler, these men in ROH are paving a way for the next generation of Black athletes.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. I was asked to give my greatest moment in Black wrestling. First memory that comes to mind is definitely Booker T winning the WCW Heavyweight Championship at Bash at the Beach 2000. I think that, of course, a lot of the circumstances that led up to Booker T winning the championship in the main event overshadow the moment a little bit for some people, but for me, I was just ecstatic. I've always been a Booker T fan. I've been a fan of his since, first seeing the Harlem Heat. I am from Harlem, New York, so the Harlem Heat was like my favorite tag team growing up as a kid. And so to go on the journey of seeing him in a tag team and step by step seeing him go from the US title, from the TV title scene to the US title scene, and then eventually win the World Heavyweight Championship at Bash at the Beach 2000, it felt fulfilling. I felt like I was on the journey with Booker T, so his accomplishment was mine, and it was only made even more paramount by the fact that Booker T looked like me.
Nigel here, a Big About Wrestling podcast. Now, when it comes to wrestling Black history, I go back to 2018 at the quarterfinals of the Mae Young Classic, Mia Yim versus Toni Storm, and while that match was fantastic, it was truly the moment afterward where the fans would let their voices be heard, thus chanting "please sign Mia," ultimately resulting in Triple H coming out saying done, officially granting Mia Yim her NXT contract. Now, seeing Mia Yim work all over the indies day in and day out, this is truly a deserved moment. She's a fantastic worker, a good person out of the ring, an advocate for domestic violence, and a voice within the African American community. So seeing her get that special moment and being a part of it live was truly one of my favorite moments in Black history in regards to professional wrestling.
Ooh, it's been a minute since I've been over here on the Muscle Man Malcolm channel. It's your boy X3 or Zeri High Life, whichever one you know me as. And today I'll be talking about one of my favorite Black wrestling moments. Now, other people may be talking about important matches in Black history or important title wins by Black people, but I'm not gonna do all that. I'm not gonna do that because look, I love those moments too, but you know me, I'm a funny guy. I like to laugh and comedy. That's just my thing. One of my favorite Black moments in wrestling has to be Teddy Long's wedding. Yes, the Teddy Long wedding when Jagged Edge was singing "Let's Get Married." That is hilarious. That's incredible. That is like one of the blackest things I've seen on WWE programming in a while. Like, if you just really look at it, the predominantly white roster on the stage, just vibing to Jagged Edge. They have their hands, they're just waving back and forth. The visual of it is so fucking funny. You have all the fans of the crowd, everyone's just chilling, just vibing, you know, just doing their thing. And then the camera cuts to Jeff Hardy, and he is feeling it, bro. I mean, talk about vibing. We're not gonna talk about how the segment kind of ended, you know, with the heart attack. We ain't gonna talk about that. That's not important. What's important is there was Black love being celebrated on SmackDown, and it was great. And they had Jagged Edge performing. That's all you really need to know.
All right, guys. So my favorite Black history-ish moment-like type of thing in wrestling, there are really two. One was when Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas won the WWE Tag Team Championships in the 80s. As a kid, it was really my first time seeing anyone of African American descent winning a championship. That was really, really a big moment. Of course, WrestleMania 35, Kofi Kingston becoming the WWE champion at WrestleMania had such huge significance. I mean, you can't overstate it, right? Got to shout out Mark Henry and his championship win against Randy Orton. That was a big one. And of course, Bianca Belair. I know I gave you four, but those are major moments that really have shaped me as a fan, me as a part of the pro wrestling business. It's a big deal when we see representation on those levels.
Okay, so when it comes to Black History Month for me in the history of the WWE, I think it's really obvious at what I'm gonna pick. It's from 2019, from WrestleMania. It is, of course, Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship. Because, my God, where do I even begin with this moment? I mean, seriously, there's been a ton of great moments in the history of the WWE for Black people and in terms of Black History Month and everything, but this moment for me, it is the creme de la creme. It's just, wow. I mean, you want to talk about a moment that really just went from a little bit of a spark to like that entire WrestleMania. Me being a huge Becky Lynch fan, as you can see by the way, and then me being a huge fan of the New Day, one of my favorite factions, if not my favorite faction of all time. Just seeing that rise for both of them was amazing. But I mean, Kofi in particular, it was like we wanted this moment for so long, and then to finally get it at WrestleMania in a banger of a match, winning the WWE Championship after the amazing Elimination Chamber performance. And I'll never forget the commentary as well, like Kofi did it, and then celebrating with his family in the ring afterwards as well. It was just, my God, what a moment. Having that moment at WrestleMania and everything it signified and everything it meant to me, an African-American WWE champion, that moment will always be special to me. I don't care how it ended, I'm just happy it happened, I'm happy how it happened. It was perfect to me. So Kofi winning the title, perfect.
This is Brian H. Waters here, co-host of The Wrestling Realm and host of the podcast Break It Down with Brian H. Keeping It 100. My favorite moment in Black history in professional wrestling is the night Naomi won her second WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. For her to win that title in Orlando at WrestleMania was amazing. And the fact she became the first African American to win a title at WrestleMania, that is why that is my favorite moment in Black history in professional wrestling. And I was there.
My favorite moment in Black wrestling has to be when Mark Henry won the World Championship in 2011. That year, Mark Henry, he had like this monster push, and he was breaking people's legs, he's putting people through tables, and at Night of Champions, he beat Randy Orton for the title. Like, I'll never forget, I always loved when Michael Cole, he goes, Mark Henry is world champion. And then he's like, the 15-year odyssey is over. All doubters and cynics be damned. And it's just like you know he's the heel, but you know he deserves it. Like, it's not a Cinderella story. It's a story of a monster just tearing through everyone and taking the world title. You know, like, Mark Henry was injured, and like all of like the things, like he wasn't all that great in the ring, and like just all the stuff he had to go through before achieving that is like just a real story. It's kind of the story of the black man in America in a way, and it's just really nice. And like I said, he's the bad guy, but like you can't feel but like get goosebumps and even a little misty eye watching that back. So that has to be one of my favorite moments in Black wrestling.
Yeah, once again, it's Chris Bay, the ultimate finesser, former X Division champion, Impact Wrestling superstar, and I'm here to talk about Black History Month and my favorite moment so far as a performer, which it's funny because we spoke about this, we used this match as an example, but the truth of the matter is my favorite moment is Final Resolution 2020, wrestling in the main event against Rich Swann for the Impact World Championship. Not just because it was the first time in a long time that two black wrestlers had main evented a pay-per-view for a championship, not just because of the amount of respect that I have for Rich, not just because of the times we're living in and everything that's going on with the world, not just because we are both from, you know, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. We're also not the traditional, wrestler, big man, or, excuse the loud fan, I'll talk louder, big man scenario. You know, Rich is a smaller guy, I'm a smaller guy, so for us to do that at the sizes that we are, I feel like we broke down a lot of barriers in that right as well. I just think it was a very special moment. I think it was my best match personally that I've had so far, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. So thank you, Rich. Thank you, Malcolm, for having me again, and appreciate you all, and I'll see you soon.
So yeah, guys, that's a video. If you really enjoyed it, comments down below. I want to know your favorite black wrestling moment in history. It doesn't just have to be Kofi winning the world title, unless it is, because that's a perfect moment if you're not degrading Kofi's title win. I love you. But let me know your favorite black wrestling moments in the comments down below. But make sure to like, comment, share, and always subscribe, and we outie.
We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. When it just like 1, 2, 3. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze.